Oh, so you decide to click on this video. Well then sir and ma'am, welcome back to yet another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Bibeak, a well-dressed strike guard.
私にはロドスの皆さんやドクターがいてくださいます。限りある命の中でこんな私でも健常者の方と同じように色鮮やかな、いえ彼らが想像もつかないような日々を送れると信じています。
As you all probably know, Bibeak is very well known as the best welfare by now due to her very fast attack speed and the unlimited blade works meme. Her second skill is very spammable for a stun skill, making her arguably as one of the best welfare by now. Just like Chen, Bibeak falls into a dual strike archetype. While often being compared, Chen is more into DPS and Bibeak is more into crowd control, which can be considered that Bibeak plays into support role more than DPS. Both have very different playstyles and of course, both can shine together if you decide to put Chen as stationary operator instead of Hell Drop. Fun fact about her, ladies and gentlemen, you can use her as your frontliner without any time because her second skill can cancel damage from enemies easily. Since her skill is very spammable, you can just keep spamming her skill to cancel deadly threats like Skull Shadower or other high damage enemies in future stages. Stat-wise, her base attack is a bit on the lower side since most gods in general have more than 650 attack stats, which is not including thrust buffs. For the rest of her stats, it is pretty normal for a god. Be mindful that even though Bibeak attacks 2 times, she only gains 1 SP per basic attack. Let's get started with her skill demonstration. I will give my quick review on Bibeak's first skill and give more showcase on her second skill. Her first skill, Plumage Pins, is an auto-activate skill that deals 100% of both physical and arts damage, while also deal damage to additional enemy within Bibeak's range. This skill is also very overshadowed by her second skill because her second skill is just that great and provides better utility than this skill. However, if you want better damage, then her first skill is for you because this skill is very fast and very consistent. Like what I show in this footage, you can see that Bibeak is able to clear the slugs with 1 Prince buff and it's not even M3 yet. You guys should be able to guess how fast this skill is if you are able to M3 her skill. Let's take a deeper look on her second skill. In here I will give you 2 stages consist daily stages by the time I'm recording this. Her second skill, Blade Swap, is a manually activated skill that deals 200% odds damage to 6 enemies within her skill's range while also stun the enemies for 1.9 seconds. Additionally, you can stack this skill by 3 times on all levels. This skill has slightly higher SP requirement from her first skill but still very spammable, especially if you put SP batteries like Liskarm or Warfarin. But the downside of this skill is that it is very weak for nuke damage but is still very justified because she can deal 200% odds damage 3 times, so she should be able to deal around 600 odds damage to enemies who have low odds resistance. In this daily CC, you can see that the armed Milton has very high damage and can easily kill Bibeak in 2 shots, but Bibeak's skill is able to prevent her from being killed as she delayed the armed Milton's attack. It would be better if I use Harmonix's first skill in this run, but for damage consistency, I have to go with her second skill instead. Don't ask me why I use Great World, I just want to. You can also see here that Bibeak attacks faster now. This is thanks to her talent, allowing her to gain attack speed by taking down an enemy. These talents stack up to 6 times. Now, in here, I am able to clear CC stage with Bibeak as the frontliner alone without help of Liskarm, which is quite impressive as she can continuously cancel enemies' attack. She also able to deal odds damage to enemies, which in this stage, odds damage plays more role than physical, unless you use the buffers. And thanks to Bibeak's second skill, this stage is cleared pretty nicely. Let's get into the next stage. This time, I will use Liskarm. In this stage, I will use Bibeak as a staller and how well she is paired with Liskarm. So in here you can see that the terminal is not ready yet and we still need a few seconds until Liskarm can be deployed. Luckily, Bibeak is able to stall down the enemies with her stunts as she gets lesser damage and able to survive a bit longer. After a few moments have passed, Liskarm is finally able to be deployed and Bibeak is left quite with little harm. Like you're seeing right now, Liskarm is able to help Bibeak with her SP recharge. In this stage, snipers and brawlers hit multiple times, making Bibeak able to gain a lot of SP from Liskarm and able to make her spam her skills more often. Bibeak does not even have to perform a lot of basic attack to do this. So at the end, Liskarm is arguably the best pair for Bibeak. For me personally, I'd say she is definitely a great operator and without question the best Welfa for now. But the thing is, do you really need her? Well, I'd say 50-50. Just my personal opinion, yes, she is very strong and is very great for team play. But as an individual player, I wouldn't really consider her as a top priority because she is very crowd control based instead of damage and mainly play the role of support instead of DPS. Well, unless she is your waifu, then go ahead. But if you ask me, I would recommend you to build your main DPS first before you're building your Bibeak. Now, don't get me wrong, like I said, yes, she is very strong and we can all agree to that. But to make her really spam her skill often, you need SP batteries like Warframe or Liskarm. And when it comes to damage, she is not that great against enemies with mid-high level odds resistance. If you've seen this footage where I try to clear H5-4, you can see that Bibeak keeps spamming her skill and the damage is not even that huge each skill activated. Yes, she spams it and that makes her have high damage output on her off-goal DPS, which is also the key skill to clear the stage. But she's able to do that because I use Liskarm in order to keep her spamming her skill. Not to mention, you have to keep clicking on her if you want to keep spamming her skill, which can be pretty time consuming on most stages. If you want to use her to cancel attacks from enemies, you also need to put timing on her skills, which can be pretty tight. If you're late just a little bit, you may cause fatal damage to Bibeak who relatively have low defense, or your allies who is taking damage from your enemy. While that's on the dark side, she obviously have a lot of bright sides. As you should know by now, Bibeak is great to keep your allies alive. Stunning down enemies is not that common as Red is very well known able to do that easily. However, Bibeak takes it to another level and she is one of those operators who can do them well, and if not, probably the best crowd control in the game. Since you can spam her second skill, she can continuously cancel your enemy's attack. Not to mention, her talent allows her to stack attack speed to her stuff each enemy is taken down. While this is a bit on downside to Flaminger who relatively have slow attack speed, Bibeak on the other hand is not because she attacks the enemies 2 times, making her able to have higher chance to get the killing blow. Her talent has great synergy with her overall kit. The faster her attack speed, the faster she recovers her SP. She also deals odds damage, which is not that common on gods other than Astasia, Broca, and Lapland in the same Rarity. Because of this, she can easily tear down high defense enemies with her skills. In more general stages, she can spam her skill alone without any help from Liskarm or Warframe. You can always activate her stun on the time you really need it. 3 stacks are enough for her to cancel attacks from the enemies, and she can easily gain those SP back because of her talent. Or if you want to keep your enemies stunned, you can either spam the skill or use her skill when the enemies are no longer stunned. You might need timing to do this, but longer starts are always worth it. With that being said, Bibeak is definitely a great operator and is very balanced for her rarity. If you watch this after contingency contract ended and regret that you don't play sooner, you can always get her again at the next season of contingency contract. But if you ask me if she is priority, other gods you get from gacha are definitely better and more consistent because damage are more dominant. But is she worth the high investment after you upgrade your main DPS? Absolutely. Like I said earlier, attack cancelling and stuns are quite rare. While her damage is on the downside, her ability to spam her skill on the other hand are able to cover that. If you want to invest her, go ahead and do so. But if your team lacks of damage, I suggest you to invest on stronger operator first because damage is more dominant on the battlefield. And that's for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked that video, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more contents like this. Also, Dreamy recently released her Bibeak guide. If you want to look more on details on numbers, be sure to check her channel out. Don't forget to also check out my friend Zeroforce as he finally released Sasa Spotlight, so check him out if you want. As always, stay safe everyone and peace.